I will actually move on here. Okay, it's recording. All right, guys, so we're back into Adobe Premiere. I just wanted to show you guys a couple extra things in relation to what we did yesterday. Okay, so we have here our bridge scene that we worked on yesterday. I would just like to show you guys a couple things, and that is transitions, titles, and exporting. Okay, so the first thing is the easiest one, transitions. So let's see this one here, for example. Let's say I want a little bit of the drone footage at the end, right when the guy looks out of the bridge. It cuts back to the drone footage, okay? So let's say I want a transition in between those two, just in between those two clips right here, okay? So the default transition for everyone in Premiere is a crossfade, okay? If you go in between the two clips where your cursor will turn into this red arrow, okay? If you right click and you go apply default transitions, you can see now there's like a block in between both of them, which reads cross dissolve. Okay, now when you play it, it fades in between the shots. Okay. Now, one thing to keep an eye on is you notice this like line on the top here that was all yellow. And when you drop this effect, this bit turned red. So it means that this new effect that you put here needs to be rendered. Okay. So to do that, all you have to do is put your time indicator on top of it and press enter. Boom. Now it is green, which means the render was successful. Okay. Now, let's say you want to extend the cross dissolve or maybe shorten it a little bit. If your line is not turning red, don't worry, it means that the render is not necessary, so it should be all right. Okay. So if you hover your mouse over the edges of the cross dissolve box, if you click and drag away, it actually extends it. If my screen gets frozen for you guys, don't worry, I'm recording it. You can just watch the recording later on as well, all right? So you can just click and drag away to make it bigger. So that way the crossover lasts longer. Very cheesy, but yeah, you can do that. Just have in mind that every time you change the duration of the cross dissolve, you need to render again, okay? Excuse me. Now, let's say the cross dissolve was a bad idea and you don't want it anymore. You just click on it. Thank you, guys. So clicking the cross dissolve and delete. Same thing for the one in the sound. When you do a cross dissolve, it gets applied to both video and sound. Okay. Now, what if we put a cross dissolve at the end? Let me just move this to the side a little bit. Okay. So now the cross dissolve is at the very end. There is nothing for this clip to dissolve to. So that means it's just going to fade to black. Okay. And if you put it in the beginning, it's going to fade from black into your footage. Okay. Let me just move this side. Okay, now because it was actually covering my screen with Premiere. Right. So now I have a crossfade in the beginning, so it fades from black, and at the end it fades to black. All right, that adds a little drama spice to our editing. Okay. Yes, there are more specific transitions to dip to black, or dip from black, and dip to white, dip from white. But we're gonna have a look on those later on. Okay. For now, we're just focusing on the crossfade and the default transitions. Okay. But yeah, James, that works better if you dip to black. Okay. Now let's have a title. Okay. So if you have a look here in your toolbar, all right, the last tool that you have is the type tool, the same one from Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. Okay, so click on the type tool, and then here on your screen, just drag a box to make a text. All right, and then all you have to do is type. I'm gonna call my movie Love Letter. Okay, once you drag a box and you type stuff in, automatically a text box is generated down here. Okay, and by default text boxes are pink, like this one. All right, so let's just shorten it so it ends at the same time as the video, and I'm going to make it fade to black as well. Nice. So the thing is, it's white, so there's not much contrast with the background. Is on the top corner, and the font is terrible. So how we change this? If you double click on the pink strip for the text, and it will come up on the top here, and you can just go to Effect Controls, and then you have your text options on this corner. Okay, so just drop down the text options. And change the font. I'll get a very romantic font. I want to make it red as well. Gonna make it very big. There you go. Conrad, if you're not getting a type box, just make sure your time indicator is on the timeline is allocated where you want your text to happen. Okay. Then go to the T tool, which is the type tool. Drag a box on the image. Okay, on this side of the screen, not the other side. On this one. Okay. Yes, Comic Sans is a romantic film. There you go. So now the title fades in and fades out. Right. So once you finish working a text, make sure you render. Nice. So to make a text. Oh God, no. Starring Daniel. So if you're not getting the text, I'll show you one more time how to get it. Go to the type tool and just drag a box on this visualizer on the screen to your right. Okay, not the one on your left. The screen on your right, the timeline visualizer. Okay. Once you have it here, you just type the title. Okay, and it shows up right here in the layer above the video. Okay. Okay. So let's pretend your timeline is good to go. It's ready. You just added the title. You added a few transitions. Now you're ready to export your film. So how do we properly export videos from Premiere? All you have to do, first of all, if you are on a Windows, click on your timeline and press Control A to select all. This will select all the clips in your timeline. Then you press Enter to make sure everything is rendered. Okay. If you're on a Mac, just go Command A and enter. Okay. Or you can just simply drag a box on a timeline to select all your clips and then render. Okay. Cool. Now, what you want to do is press Control M on a Windows or Command M on a Mac. Oh God, wait, I think my Premiere is gonna crash. Please don't crash Premiere, it didn't save it. God, oh no. Sorry guys, technical issues. Okay, here we go. Oof, that scared me for a bit. Right, so this is your export settings, okay? So first of all, the output name, all right? Click on this blue title over here to change the name of the file, okay? Love letter, okay? And by default, it will save on the project folder that you set up at the very beginning. Hit save. And then what you need to change, it's on the top here. You gotta change the format, okay? Change the format to H.264. H.264. This is the format you should be working with. H.264, okay? The H.264 format is a very specific codec for MP4 videos destined to online reproduction. This will make the video files that you export very light, okay? But also it will keep the quality and the good resolution, all right? So make sure it's H.264 and make sure it matches source, okay? In this case, since it has no sound, you can just tick off the export audio. Okay, once you have those settings done, all you have to do is click export. And then you wait a little bit. Since this is a very short and simple timeline, it'll be really quick to export. And done. So now if I open my folder here on my project, here is my video file. It is only 32 megabytes. There you go. It's playing beautifully. Okay. And yes, please make sure you save constantly. A question here from Isabel: how long a feature film takes to export? It depends on the film. It depends if it's a film of. It depends on the duration. Depends on the quality that you're exporting to. It depends on a lot of factors. But the way it works in feature film, actually, let me just stop the recording. Stop the recording.